Hello, St. Matthew. Today we're continuing with our Advent Reflection series. In our last video, we looked at the theology of motherhood. In this video, we'll examine the concept of fatherhood, specifically as it relates to St. Joseph. Today, we are joined by St. Matthew parishioner and school parent, Matt Jaeger.
When I think about how fatherhood has changed me, a Burger King commercial comes to my mind. It was about a year into our marriage, and my wife had let me know that she had a strong feeling that it was time to begin growing our family. We talked about it a lot, and I had a lot of reservations. I was in medical school at the time, and we had very little money, and we lived in this tiny little apartment, and we were just getting into a comfortable rhythm of enjoying our married life. And while I love kids, I'm a pediatrician, I knew that having a baby would change so much of what I thought at that time that I needed to be happy and successful in life. But my wife is one of the smartest people I know, and she talks to God a lot more than I did back then. And so I considered that she might be right, and she's also very persistent. So within a year, we welcomed our first son into our family. And wouldn't you know it, I was right. Everything did change. Nothing about our situation was any different, except we now have this tiny little baby. A week after our son's arrival, we were sitting home alone as a family for the first time, and I was sitting on the couch, and I remember holding him in my arms, and I was watching TV while I think my wife was taking a nap or a shower or something. I don't remember what she was doing, but I remember that I was in dad mode for the first time in my life. And this Burger King commercial came on. Some silly melodramatic thing about a father and a son throwing a ball in the front yard. And I just started crying right there on our sofa, holding my boy snuggled up against my chest. And I was like a sobbing, sniffling mess. And my wife comes in and she asked me what's wrong, because up until then, I was definitely not a crier. And I told her about the sappy commercial, and I remember I told her that I felt like something had broken inside of me, and we laughed. But in truth, something did. It was my reservations. It was all the walls of self-protection and self-gratification and self-interest that I built up over my life, crumbling because of exposure to this new kind of love. I was a father. I was overwhelmed with a new sense of purpose to give myself, my life for this child. In human terms, the gift of fatherhood breaks open the heart and sometimes the floodgates so that we may know better what it was like for the Father to give without reservation, holding nothing back from us, not even his own son. He didn't make us because he needs us. He gave us life and everything in it because of love. He gives and he's motivated by nothing but love. That kind of love without reservation is the Father's love. And by his grace, it's the kind of love that we are capable of when we cooperate with God's plan to give our lives away for the love of another person. This is the kind of love that led St. Joseph to set aside his own reservations and enter into the intimacy of the Holy Family as protector, teacher, and provider. 20 years ago, my own newfound fatherhood lifted the veil for me about the Father's love and the incredible, inexplicable way that he made men to imitate his fatherhood. As we journey through Advent and anticipate the coming of Christ, I meditate on my own fatherhood and how this gift allows me to accept the love and forgiveness of my Heavenly Father, who is always giving without reservation.
We hope you enjoyed this reflection on fatherhood. Stay tuned for our next video reflection on the family.